Well, Turkey and Russia have agreed a deal to create a terror-free safe zone in northeastern Syria that requires Kurdish fighters to withdraw from the entire length of the Turkish border. Well, at a joint press conference in Sochi, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin said the deal guarantees the territorial integrity of Syria while allowing Turkey to keep control of the areas it pushed into earlier this month. Well, Russian and Turkish troops will conduct joint patrols of the border area. The announcement came hours before the end of a 5-day ceasefire aimed to allow Kurdish forces to withdraw from a zone along the border. Well, here to help explain the details of today's agreement is Christian Brekel of the German Council on Foreign Relations in Istanbul. Well, thanks so much for joining us on the programme. So, as we were just saying, there seems to be an agreement between Turkey and Russia now that the Kurdish YPG will pull away to some 30 kilometres from the Syrian border. But Turkey and Russia contend that this will end the bloodshed. Is that correct, in your opinion?
At least it will halt the immediate fighting. The YPG could, however, decide to wage some kind of insurgency against the Turkish army, but that would then probably risk them getting into trouble with Russia. One thing that's important here, you mentioned this 30-kilometer safe zone. This 30-kilometer only applies in one part of the agreement. In the rest of the border, it will only be 10 kilometers.
OK, so how significant is that then?
It is significant in a sense that Erdogan walked away from this deal with like something that he can present at home as a win. He managed to get the YPG, managed to get the PKK from the border. But he had to pay a price for it, and that is, of course, restarting cooperation with the Assad regime, because the Assad regime is the force that will take over the rest of the border and will operate border crossings with Turkey again.
OK, so and if we look at this issue of the safe zone, which is why obviously Turkey began this incursion, or the reasons it gave for it, they've said that Erdogan will work with Moscow for the safe return of Syrian refugees. But can we see this in some respects as Turkey trying to Arabize, in some respects, what is historically a Kurdish area?
There was at least the fear that everybody had in the beginning. I think under the New Deal, it's not quite clear that this will happen. I mean, what Turkey intends this zone, although they won't openly say it, mostly is for possible refugee flows from the Idlib enclave in case, which sooner or later might happen, Russia and the Syrian army try to take over that zone again, and then the 3 million people, or at least part of these 3 million people, become displaced to stop them reaching the Turkish border.
OK, well, thanks so much, Christian Brekel of the German Council of Foreign Relations in Istanbul.